Hi everybody, I'm Fatimah.
And I'm Janay.
And we are Kitten Sip.
We're two best friends who started a YouTube and Bookstagram channel at Kitten Sip. You can follow us there. And we also decided to start a YouTube channel. So on our YouTube channel, we're just going to be posting videos a couple times, maybe once or twice a month on books that we've read throughout the month, and giving you guys reviews and our reactions to books that we're reading. You can also keep up with us on Goodreads and everything like that. So keep watching for more book reviews.
So our YouTube videos are going to be a mixture of vlogging and discussions. So we're going to take you all the way through the book from start to finish.
Goddamn Don Adler. Still on him. Two things about this chapter, or chapters, this section of Evelyn's life. First, Monique. This whole how is she related to Evelyn thing is, I think it's kind of starting to add up. Reid is really focusing on Monique's family life and how she has all these vivid memories of her mom and her dad together, and it really hurts her to think about those happy times. And then she also talks about how her dad worked on film sets, and if there was a film set, there was Evelyn. And where you found Evelyn, you found a film set. So maybe there was some kind of association there. I don't know. And then Evelyn and Celia. So I'm just gonna, okay, so I have one thing marked here. So after Evelyn and Celia actually meet on the set of Little Women, and Celia wants to go out for milkshakes to, I think it's called Schwab's, was it? Which is that really famous restaurant. Everyone knows if you're gonna be there, you're gonna be photographed, whatever. And Evelyn's like, no, go to this other place. And then she tells her, you have to push people's boundaries and not feel bad about it. No one is gonna give you anything if you don't ask for it. You tried, you were told no, get over it. And then she also told her, when you use people, be good at it. Words of wisdom. I just feel like this is going to be, or these are going to be words that Evelyn lives by. I sense it. I sense it already, and I'm here for it.
Okay guys, I'm coming back with an update. So it is February 19th. It's 7 o'clock, and I just read a little bit. So I'm on page 150. I'm on so the book is basically broken down in like seven husbands of Evelyn Hugo. The book is broken down like to each part. So like one part is like first husband, second husband, so on. I'm like nearing towards the end of the second husband. I have a lot of thoughts. I wrote down, like, as I'm going, I'm like, oh, this is so good. Oh, like I have thoughts about this. I have thoughts about this. So I had to like write down a couple notes just because I didn't want to forget anything. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I have so much to talk about. Let's talk about it, okay? So just in general, like I think like when you first start the book, you just get this general idea that like, oh, this book is gonna, you know, just have like Marilyn Monroe kind of vibes, kind of feel, you know, superficial Hollywood kind of thing. But the book gets deep, and it's like, it's not, I think that's the good thing about it, because like it's not it's what you're expecting, but plus more. Like it's so good. It gets better as you're going, and it's like, oh, okay, like I wasn't expecting, you know, to have like these topics in here, you know. So, and basically Don Adler's part is, the big topic is domestic abuse. Get into the head of, you know, someone who's been abused, you know, domestically abused. So I think that part is like what it just goes into a little bit deeper, and I like that. Evelyn is savage. She's a savage. And I've been tabbing so far some parts. So this is one part. It doesn't give away anything, but it just goes to show the savagery of Evelyn Hugo. So basically, she's talking to this other character. Her name's Cecilia, and she basically says, oh, the difference between you and I is that I know that I use people. I'm fine with the idea of using people. And all of that energy that you spend trying to convince yourself that you're not using people, I spend getting better at it. And I'm just like, wow, I have mixed thoughts about this. Like, on one hand, I'm just like, I don't think, you know, you should be using people. But on the other hand, it's like, I appreciate the honesty. Like, I really like that she's just like, yeah, I use people. I know, I do it. And I'm just like, I liked it. And then I'm like, on the other hand, I don't like it. I don't know. I really do like the fact that she's honest about like, yeah, I use people. That's the difference between you and I. I'll admit it, but you don't. And then the person was just like, oh, the person said, oh, and you're proud of that? And she says, I'm proud of where it's gotten me. This woman, I'm proud of where it's gotten me. I mean, hey, guess you gotta do what you gotta do, but at the same time, like, you have to use people too at the same, I don't know. It's just, she's a very interesting character. She has a story, and I like that. I think the author really spent time building Evelyn because she is so interesting. She's just like someone you want to know. Like, throughout this book, I want to Google her. I want to like look up the pictures. I want to look up things that they're mentioning in this book. And I'm just like, this is not a real person. Like, it's crazy. I'm almost done Adler's part. So moving on to the third husband. More updates later for the third husband coming. I'll see you guys then.
So Evelyn and Harry are married, and Celia and John are married, but technically Celia and Evelyn are married, and Harry and John are married. This arrangement just works a little too well. And I'm seeing that play out because Evelyn just had the baby, Cameron, with Harry. And I mean, Celia was jealous from, as soon as Evelyn even said it, Celia was jealous. Now, is it coming as a shock that Celia's pulling away? How she just keeps getting all of these roles across the country, and now she's pushing Evelyn to do a role that's gonna have nudity in it because, as Evelyn says, it's gonna make her look more womanly and appealing. And Celia apparently just needs to have that in her woman. I just feel like this relationship, like this foursome, Celia and Evelyn, I kind of feel like their relationship might have run its course. Because Evelyn, obviously, like, she loves Cameron and she spends so much time with Cameron. And Cameron and Harry are kind of operating in that family unit. And John and Celia are on the outskirts a little bit. But like, Celia's making it so. Because she doesn't want to be a parent. She just wants to be on Celia, right? So I kind of feel like this is not gonna last.
Gosh, yeah, so I had just like a little small tear. Just a small tear because a character just died. And the way it happened was so quick, it was so unexpected. Like, where did this come from? Like, no. Why? I really like this person. And then it's just like, no. They're gone. I wasn't expecting this. Like, why is this author playing games with my emotions? Just one, that wasn't even one whole chapter ago. It was like 3 pages ago. Things looked like they were on the up and up. I was like, okay. All right. And then now, 3 pages later, the author's playing games with my emotions.
That must have been one XXXXXX rated film because Celia just left Evelyn. And I'm not mad at her for that. I mean, Evelyn really did cross another line where this is your ex-husband and you're acting so well that people are going to believe that you're having sex on screen. And you didn't even bring it up to Celia. That's pretty crappy. Yeah, so I'm not mad at Celia for leaving, and it seems like this is going to be set in stone because, like, we only have 2 husbands left, and Evelyn is, I think, 37 at this point, or she was 37 when she had the baby, so I guess she's probably like 39. But also, Evelyn makes really good points that she's been using her body the entire time that well, not the entire time, but at multiple points throughout her and Celia's relationship. So she used Mick because she didn't want them to be discovered. And then she used Harry because she wanted a baby. And she used Max Gerard to get her sexuality back, which was actually Celia's idea, but Evelyn did take it too far. So yeah, she's just been doing her usual Evelyn, using her body or her sexuality or anything to get what she wants. And this time it just went too far.
I'm so stressed, yo. I think this book really is... The last update I gave you, the last update I gave you, I was on page 333 and somebody died. There's this one thing that you just want to happen throughout this whole book. The one thing. You just want this one thing. So does Evelyn. And then you get the one thing that you've been wanting. And then she says, you know what? You can't have the cake and eat it too. So she gives you what you want. And then it's like you got a nice ice cream cone that you've been wanting all day. And then you get the ice cream cone. And then you get one lick. And then all the ice cream fall off your cone. That's how I feel. Like, you're just so, like, I get what I wanted. And then it's like, you gave me this after, and now my ice cream all on the floor.
Evelyn Hugo is a conniving, selfish woman to the core. The last portion of the book, when she reveals that Monique's father is Harry's lover, and then basically says, I was trying to find a way to get into contact with you. Monique tried to spin it in her head to think, oh, she chose me because of the right to die piece, which, yeah, that probably was a major factor. But I think the biggest factor there is that Evelyn wanted to find a way to give you the letter and explain what happened. And so she used herself and her life to get you there. The very thing that got her to where she was, which are her assets, her breasts, are what's going to take her out, and she won't allow that to happen. So she controls her own destiny once again and overdoses.
Okay, so let's go through each husband and just give like our impressions of them. And then because all the husbands go throughout Evelyn's life, I think we should do like what we think of Evelyn in that specific time period. Yeah?
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Ernie?
So Ernie, I feel like there's not too much you can like have an opinion of Ernie, because he was only there for a short period of time, and he was only there for a short period of time, and then to be honest, like with Ernie, I think he's sweet. I mean, he was just a person I feel like who just got used.
Too much.
Yeah, I feel like he just got used, and I think with Evelyn, how I feel about her at that time was sis was on go mode at this time. She was like, listen, I'm trying to go, so I'm gonna take this man and I'm gonna just, take him for a ride to LA. So yeah, how do you feel about Ernie?
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think that Ernie in this one, I mean, I wouldn't say that he's innocent. I do think that they used each other. Like Ernie knew that she was underage, okay? True. And he said that she was pretty, she had big boobs, and he wanted a little wife. Evelyn fit the bill. Right? He did. And Evelyn said, this man is going out to Cali, and I'm trying to get to LA. So, let's get married.
I know.
And, I mean, what else could you want, right? She had nothing going for her back in Hell's Kitchen. Her dad was abusive, her mom had died, and she was already doing what she was doing with the candy guy. So, I mean, what else was she gonna do? Honestly, what else was she gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, and there was this one part, like the one part where towards the end of Ernie's, like section, and it was when Harry was like, oh, I think you should be seen with this guy named Don. And then that part where Evelyn lived, where she was just like, oh, I know what you want me to do. and then she's like, I know what you want me to do. And then she just goes home and was like, Ernie, I think we need a divorce.
Okay, but also, wait, before we even get to that, when she tried to come on to Harry, and then she slept with Ari. The producer.
This was Evelyn at her prime time. Like this was Evelyn on the go. She's like, I got moves to make.
A go-getter.
Yeah, she's like, I got moves to make. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get it. And I was just like, you know what? At that time, when I was at this point, I'm thinking, I'm looking at Evan. I'm like, wow, she has no shame in her game. Like she's just like,
she doesn't.
She has no.
But she's
shame.
also young and she has passion and she knows what she wants.
But
I kind of admire her for that. But
yeah,
just the way she did it was a little.
but at this point in time, how old is she? Is she like 16? Did she make it to 16 yet?
Yeah. No. Yeah. She's like 16, 17, something like that.
Yeah, because I think, something like that around that. I think maybe. Yeah, because I think
no, she definitely is. Yeah.
Because I think when she married, what was his name? Ernie, that her dad had to sign off on the thing, right? The marriage certificate, kind of, for them to get married, right?
Because she was supposed to be 16. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, this girl learned from a young age. She was like,
so she's definitely like 16 in here.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just goes to show that, she been hustling.
Started from the beginning. Look.
Started from the bottom, then we're here.
I'm not mad at her.
Like,
for that one.
There's so many things. With Evelyn, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. So, who are we on to now?
Don. Goddamn Don.
Goddamn Don. All right.
Also, I like how she gives each of them, I guess, an adjective.
Yeah.
Poor Ernie. Goddamn Don. Like, I feel like that okay. I kind of feel like it was accurate, but I kind of feel like it wasn't. Because, poor Ernie, she used him. But, like, he used her. Don, that was correct all the way around.
I mean, like, I feel like with Ernie, I feel like he used her in the beginning. Like, he took advantage of her because he knew that she was younger. But, like, also, I mean, he still supported her, like, in the early beginnings of her acting career. He still supported her. He was like, if you want to
She manipulated him.
Ain't no support.
She manipulated him.
I guess so. I mean, like, okay, so like if we're going into Don, right? So with Don, here's that thing again about like when Harry said, I think you should be seen with Don, he'll help you get to get to where you need to go, kind of thing. So I think with Don, like, I feel like she went in wanting just like to just use him to get where she needed to go.
Right.
But then, like, but then, like, they actually, I was like, Don, you had so much potential. Why? You could have had something great. And it's just like, Don.
He had to ruin it.
Yeah, I think.
He had to ruin it.
And I think, but with Don, in his section, we also get, but I feel like Don's mess up was, like, good for Cecilia.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Are we bringing Celia in now? Are we bringing her in?
I mean, you can wait. I mean, I don't really know what too much to say about Don.
I'm ready if you're ready.
I mean, all I got to say about Don is he had potential in the beginning. He was doing great. I was like, I want me a Don. But then, he had to put his hands on it, and that was it. I was like, I can't mess with you, Don. That's it. So
no, after that it was over.
Yeah, after that was over. But then, we get a little introduction to Cecilia, and I'm like, I'm here for the tea.
Cecilia St. James.
Cecilia St. James. What do you think about her?
I love it. I love it, and I love that she came into, like, they bonded over Cecilia trying to be like Evelyn. And Evelyn telling her basically, like, you can't be like me because you're not ready to be like me. Like, I tabbed it. Hold on.
It? Oh, wait.
I did.
Was it the lunch dinner, the lunch that they had or something?
Yes. When they were supposed to go get milkshakes. Yes. Page 95.
Yo, she put her in her place. I cannot.
She said, so if you're going to be as big as you clearly want to be, you need to learn two things. First, you have to push people's boundaries and not feel bad about it. No one is going to give you anything if you don't ask for it. You tried, you were told no. get over it.
Yeah, and then if you if you go down a little bit on that page, my favorite part, that same page is like, oh, she's like, there's a difference between the two of us. Do you know that one in particular I'm talking about? What is it? That I know I use people. I'm fine with the idea of using people, and all of that energy you spending trying to convince yourself that you're not using people, I spend getting better at it. I was like, this woman.
Blew my mind.
She admits, like, someone who just so openly admits, like, I'm using you, but, like, I'm going to tell you, like, and you know you lying, saying you trying to be a good person, saying, oh, you're not like, using them. But listen, you know you're using them. I'm just getting better at it and I'm admitting it.
Right. And I actually like that she's being honest about it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like that's the thing about her, that like sometimes you want to hate her and you don't want to like her, but then it's also the point that I respect the honesty like so much.
You knew what it was.
Yeah, she's like telling you how it is, and it's just like, how can you be mad at someone who's just so honest about about what they're doing?
Like, she literally told you this is what it is, and that's it. Like, I don't know what else you want me to say.
Yes, exactly. So I was just like, ooh, see, Cecilia, she wasn't ready for that.
She wasn't
ready for that spice. So I think that was like the best part, like the sassiness between them, and just like the way Evelyn was just throwing it back.
Right. Just like, please. That was literally just like, please moment.
I know.
I'm here for it.
But yeah.
All right.
Who's next? All
right. Next we have.
Who we on? Number 3. Mick. Oh my gosh, Mick. Gullible Mick.
Gullible Mick Riva. See, this is again where I'm like, calling him gullible. They used each other.
Like,
he's not that gullible.
Yeah, I don't know where she got the gullible thing from. Like
why? Because he fed into her hand? Because she acted like she wanted him and he went along with it? No. She acted like he wanted him. He really did want her, and he wanted her for one thing, and because she wouldn't do without getting married, he married her. Don't tell me that, baby, I think I really love you, blah, blah. Don't tell me that that's him being gullible.
I'm dying.
No, that's him setting up a scene because he wanted something and she wasn't willing to do it unless it was under her terms.
Yeah.
There is no gullible about that.
I think about, so I'm thinking, so after she divorced Don, then she's like single, blah, blah, blah. Don tried to ruin her career like a weak bitch. And and then she's like, oh, because she's on to Mick. And so Mick, I think the best part about Mick was that, like, you really realize that at this point now she's on her 3rd marriage, and you're just like, okay, she sees what she can do with these marriages. Like, they're not really marriages of like, okay, I'm just going to use them to get to the top. So then my favorite part was, I don't know if it's the same, it was on page 175, and it was at the beginning of like a little chapter, and it was like, the first thing you need to do to get a man to elope with you is to challenge him to go to Las Vegas. This lady is literally,
and that's it.
She's literally giving you pointers on how to finesse this man to marry you.
But are we mad at it? I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad because, one, it worked. It
did.
It was so easy. He was just like candy to her. Like, she was just playing with this man the whole time. Hands. Yeah. So I mean, Mick, he was trash, and
he was.
I mean, he was. Just
but also, I feel like, he used her. Mm-hmm. He literally just focused on the fact that she had a pretty face and a nice body. Yeah, and that's it. Him telling her that, oh, I love you, or he was just so infatuated with her and infatuated with what she was, like this movie star who was so glamorous and everybody wanted her, that he had to have that. And when he woke up, remember he woke up in the hotel and he tried to initiate sex and she was just like, no, because she was acting, right?
Yeah.
But he was like, oh, I didn't think it was going to be like this. Like, okay. And then he's like, well, we were both really drunk, and I just think we should have this annulled.
Mm-hmm. He was like, oh,
like, Mick, come on.
That part is especially like you knew like that he was like using her because he was just like, oh, I think I love you in the casino, and I'm just like, you think, or what is it, sir? Like, I don't even.
I think I want to have sex with you. That's what it was.
I think. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That was. I mean, that's all I gotta say about Nick. Mick was I said of all of them, he was the one who was definitely using her. For me,
yeah,
I say he was the one who was definitely like he used her the most.
I don't know if he was using her the most. I think that
you don't think
I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep that for a little bit.
Okay.
I don't think that he was using her the most.
We talk about it later.
But also, what do you think of Evelyn during this time?
Okay, Evelyn during this time with Mick. I think she was still on her grind, and she was just like. I mean, it was. I think. Also, I think the only reason there's a reason why she needed to marry, at the time wanted to marry Mick. I have mixed feelings about her wanting to marry Mick because the thing with Cecilia. I understand like why she wanted to do it at the time, but also I'm just like, do you really respect Cecilia? Do you really like? She doesn't want you to do this, like, but yet you did it anyway because you believe that you're protecting her, all this other kind of stuff. So exactly. I think Evelyn was, I think she was still figuring herself out and, trying to figure out the world, and trying to figure out her emotions and like how she's feeling. I think that there's just that from the beginning where Ernie, if she realized that like marriages are kind of like helping her move up each state. So I think her solution to everything at this time is just like marriage. Like he can help me. Who can I use next kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely feel like she's always going to have that. At this point, that like user mentality of like, I need to do this to get what I want, and I'm okay with that. I'm completely fine with that. The only thing I didn't like about this was that she wasn't honest with Celia, and I think this is where. Do you remember in the beginning where Monique was saying she answers the question she wants to answer, and she's very secretive, even though I'm supposed to be writing her biography.
Yeah.
And now I feel like you can see that where. She was trying to protect people before when she's talking to Monique, but now she's trying to protect Celia, even though she's supposed to be partners with Celia. Like she didn't tell her that she actually had sex with Mick.
Yes.
And so she told her, I'm pregnant. So I feel like this is just Evelyn just like keeping these secrets and doing what she has to do to make sure that she stays happy, but it's sometimes at the expense of other people. Harry, I feel like I really liked him. I think that he was like she said, he was kind-hearted, he was brilliant, he knew the movie industry, he can get a film on the screen and it'll do well. Great. I think he was very kind-hearted, he cared about Evelyn, and I think that they bonded because they both had this like facade of hiding from the public what they really were. Like Evelyn, I mean, she hid her entire career, right? She hid that she was Cuban. She turned into this blonde white woman, and then she hid herself from her husband's. Like Ernie didn't know who she really was, and then Mick didn't really know who she really was. All she cared about was herself and hiding from the public to get them to see the version that she wanted them to see. And then Harry was the same way. He was gay, and he didn't want people to know that because he didn't want it to ruin his career. So I think that that's why they bonded so much. Because remember in the beginning, she was like, "We're best friends, and we still have secrets."
Yeah.
And he's like, "I don't think you're ready for my secrets." But I think that's what kept them together too. So I love that about Harry. I think that he just seemed like such a great guy.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that they could be married and be with John and Celia was just like the perfect setup.
Oh my gosh.
And then I got kind of weary of it because she said that they were at that picnic. Oh, sorry. They had the kid, right? Cameron. and.
Or Connor.
All right, so I feel like I should just. Oh.
Connor. Yeah, Connor.
Oh,
Connor Cameron was her name.
My bad. I'm just gonna go through it. I think that Celia was, even at this age, slightly immature, and she didn't have very good communication skills, because I think they were so in love, but then when Evelyn decided that she wanted a kid and Harry agreed, Celia agreed that they could do it, but she didn't really agree. And once she was there, Celia didn't really want to be bothered, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's why she pushed her to do that movie, because she's like, I want my bombshell Evelyn back. And Evelyn was like, okay, I can do the movie. You know what? You're right, Celia. I should do this movie. And then she does the movie with Don. And everything just like goes in a handbasket, right?
Yeah.
So I think that this whole marriage was just so up and down. And it wasn't even up and down for Harry and Evelyn. It was up and down for Celia and Evelyn. So I feel like their whole marriage, which I think they were married for like 15 years.
Yeah, the longest
that whole
one.
marriage, that time period wasn't really Harry and Evelyn. That marriage wasn't about them. It was basically the marriage between Evelyn and Celia.
Yeah.
And I was appreciative to Harry for being able to like be in that relationship and still have his relationship with John, and letting Evelyn have her relationship with Celia. But then at the end, when John died and he was so upset, and then he finds this love of his, he just ruined it for me, because he was driving drunk and he killed both of them.
Yeah.
And it was just, his whole image was ruined for me.
Yeah. I feel you.
That was a lot, sorry.
No, I feel you on it. I'm taking it all in. All right. So let me start from the beginning, from what you were saying. So like, yeah, in the beginning,
Okay.
From the beginning with Harry, when you first meet him, when, you know, she's married to Ernie, and I'm like, okay, like I really like Harry. Like he seems genuine, and I feel like he and Evelyn just have that vibe. Like they just, I don't know, they just have that natural, that they just flow together. And just like you're saying, like it's just because like they have those secrets, but they're like, you know, they're both trying to hide. But you know, yeah, I think it's just good I like how their relationship, Harry and Evelyn relationship, came together, and that they actually became really close, true friends.
Right.
And then, and the thing is about Harry, it's just like, he's just like, I'm just a sucker for sweethearts. Like, Harry is just a sweetheart. He was like, you know, like, if you want to get out of this marriage with Rex, because Rex, you know, got someone pregnant, like, all right, sure, I'll marry you. Like, you my best friend. Sure, I got your back, you know? And he's just like, okay, I'll marry you. Like, even though, I don't even think he even talked with John first about, did he talk with John first before he even married Evelyn? I think he did.
I mean,
maybe
he have to? He was already married to Celia.
I think maybe he did. And the thing is, what I want to also talk about, so like how John, Harry, Cecilia, and Evelyn were like all living together, and like they just developed this family, and like it was so unconventional. Right. It was just like, what is going on? Like Harry and Evelyn are married, but like they're not together. They're actually with their lovers, and that they have a kid. Right. They're all kind of raising the kid. I'm like, it's all unconventional. I loved it. It worked so well. Like they were like, I think this is like the only point in the book where like Evelyn was genuinely happy, and like she was just happy. Like, she had Cecilia, she had Harry, she had, you know, the baby, and I was just like, wow, like I love John. Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is like, it's so unconventional. This is so weird, but like I like it. So that part was just like, oh my gosh, yes. Like I'm really enjoying this part. But yeah, I understand what you're saying about Cecilia and her kind of being like not knowing what she wants from Evelyn, because I feel like yeah, it was definitely like, oh, I want you to do this movie, but like don't do too much, or like I want you to be great, but don't do too much. I want us to have our own time and not be in the spotlight. And she's like, okay, well, I have to marry this man so that we can be, so no one suspects us. And she's like, I don't want you to marry that man. And it's just like, what do you want me to do? What do you want from me? Yeah.
But I feel like Evelyn's also not innocent in this, because she should have told her about the scene with Don before she did it.
Yeah, and she knew she was wrong when she was telling Monique.
Right.
Yeah, she knew she was wrong. So we was just, that was the part. I think I even vlogged it. I was just like, Evelyn, you know, as you're thinking right now that you shouldn't do this, but yet you did it.
Right.
And then it's like that TikTok where it'd be like, oh girl, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. And then you'd be like, I did it. Like that. Did you see that TikTok?
I don't watch TikTok.
Oh my God, it's just TikTok where it's just they're like, oh girl, I'm not gonna do
TikTok.
it. I don't have a TikTok. It's just watch it on YouTube. Anyway.
I know. I don't.
Just but yeah,
Okay.
it was basically like that. Like she's literally telling you right now in her head, she's thinking, you know, I should tell Cecilia about this, or I should tell her about it before I do it. Like, what in your right mind you tell somebody something that you know they're not gonna agree with after you do it?
Right. It really doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So I think it's just like with Evelyn. Sometimes you're just like, girl, what is going through your mind? Sometimes.
Okay. Well, then at the end, when Miss Celia St. James comes back around, and when they reconcile, and she has to figure out a way to get away from Max after the divorce, like right before the divorce, when they spun that story about the younger guy to make sure that anything Max said would be like completely undermined, the creativity, the intelligence, Evelyn.
The finesse. That's why this woman is the ultimate finesser. Like,
she is.
The way she be spinning these stories, the way she be like, oh, you know, people be thinking that she got caught in the act with Harry Cameron, like when she was, you know, she did not get caught. She knew what she was doing. Everything was planned by Evelyn. Like, everything was planned. I don't even know. Like, it's just, the way it's just like every solution is a marriage. And I think,
literally,
I think that just comes back to her and, you know, trying to come to terms with like what's going on in society and like everything about this, you know, and the 1960s with sexual riots and stuff like that. So I think definitely like, oh, of course, you know, there were some mentions about Reagan in there, and I was just like, trash. But yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think.
Well, I mean, that was Max. I don't want to talk about Robert. I think we just have to talk about Monique's father and Evelyn.
Oh, this is.
Because
I swear, this was so tough. Oh my gosh!
Know what?
So tell me what you first when you first thought when you found out what really happened.
When she actually
Yeah. So like
I hated her with 1,000 suns. Like, I thought this one was gonna burn in hell for what she did. I was like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
You're what? You literally you tried to ruin his legacy by putting him in the driver's seat and made it seem like he was the one that was drunk driving. And then you come back around when Monique's an adult and you decide, yeah, now it's the time to give this to you. What?
It's so hard to think that Evelyn was being genuine about actually like, oh, you know, I actually looked up your work, I wanted to wait till you were older, blah, blah, blah. It's hard to believe, that from this woman, like, oh, I actually wanted you to know how your father actually was, kind of thing. So I was shook. I was like, oh. I know. I was like, I never would have thought like how they would have, how the connection would have came together about, exactly. Monique and Evelyn. Also, like, I understand, like, after Monique read the letter and everything like that, it's kind of like Monique's dad is kind of had the same situation as Harry. Like, like Monique's dad like had a wife, but that wasn't the love of his life, but he really loved her. Like Harry really loved Evelyn, but that wasn't the love of his life. And I was just like, yo, that's crazy.
But
like,
so did you get that they were like, that she had once again used someone to get what she wanted? I just felt like whether she like, well, no. I think this is a dual-pronged kind of analysis here. So she wanted to give Monique the letter, and she wanted to tell Monique the story. So she used the fact that Monique was a writer, and she used herself as like this icon who's about to die or is giving away her dresses to bring Monique to her. So she once again used her body or used herself to make sure she got what she wanted. And then there's also the fact that Monique had that right to die piece, and she understood the mindset of like what Evelyn was going through. But there's also like Evelyn, I feel like that allowed Evelyn to think that it was okay for her to essentially commit suicide. But I also think it's Evelyn here is like righting her wrongs before she dies. And she's using Monique to tell the world about like, I actually love Cecilia. This is my love of my life. And I want you guys to know that. So she used Monique to do that. And then she used telling Monique to make sure that she died with a clear conscience. If that makes sense.
I think I get it. So I don't think that so with Evelyn using, I don't think because she said she's not trying to right her wrongs. Like she said she had no regrets, and then she would redo everything again. So I mean, I think I believe that like, you know, like she had no regrets. I genuinely think that she wanted to actually give her this letter. But like, once again, Evelyn, she didn't want to go about it and just be like, oh, how do I randomly get this girl? I think she just had to use what she, like, again, like she always has to before she has to use what she has. So she used her fame and, you know, her power as, you know, that came with fame, and was like, I want her, you know, just so that she can, you know, so she can, yes, her getting what she wants, but it's like, again, you can't be mad at her because you got to use what you got. I mean, you got the fame, use it. Why not? Yeah. So, I mean, I think she was trying to be, you know, genuine about it, but also at the same time, it's like she loved Harry, and she was like, I would do anything for Harry. So, like, yeah, at the end of the day, I'm sorry that it happened to you, but like at the end of the day, I will do it again. Like, I was like,
so it's like, are you actually sorry then?
I mean, she's sorry for, I think she's sorry. I think she's sorry for how Monique was, you know, had to believe that her father was a drunk driver. I think that's what she's sorry about, but I don't think she's sorry for putting her dad in the driver's seat. I don't think she's sorry for that. Yeah,
for protecting Harry instead.
Yeah, I don't think she's sorry about that. I think she's just sorry about like Monique having to, you know.
Right.
Yeah, but
she protected Connor too.
Yeah. So, but I mean, Connor still had a little trouble, but I think it would have been worse if, you know, it was the truth.
Right. If she knew what really happened.
Yeah. So, I think just with Evelyn, it's like, she's so complex. It's just like,
she is.
She's so complex. It's like, it's never just straight one way with her. It's like, okay, she said this, but
at all.
She's not sorry. She said this, but, and I was like, like, this lady, why can't you just?
It's interesting.
Yeah. So I think that's definitely like one thing about her was just like no regrets.
And that's it. No regrets.
Yeah. I think.
All right. So then.
Yeah. At the end, what do you think about, like how
final thoughts?
Like how Monique did the how she like wrote up that last part about, you know, who she was and everything like that, and she was saying that she didn't know if she wanted to mention like her dad because of like you know, her mom and stuff like that. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I don't think it was necessary for her to mention her dad. I think that because it's Evelyn's biography, like she had to mention Harry and she had to mention that whole scenario or situation, but I don't think that she had to mention her dad.
Yeah.
And I think that Monique learned a lot from Evelyn in that short amount of time, but I think that Monique was like Evelyn more than she thought she was, because I think that Monique is trying to also protect her mother, and that's why when she asked her mom about her relationship with her dad, she never brought up anything about like what her dad might have been up to, you know? Like she never even put like a hint of doubt into her mom's mind about that.
Yeah.
And I think that also if you think about Monique's own marriage, how she wasn't really sure how she felt about the marriage and if she was going to go through with a divorce or not. But then Evelyn kind of talked her through, you can end a marriage without being sad about it. You can be disappointed that you failed a marriage, or you can be sad that, you know, this marriage is over because you still love that person.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that Monique learned from Evelyn. Like, you're not really sad about the marriage ending. You're sad about something failing.
Yeah.
And then there's also the fact that Monique learned about her when she went to bat with Frankie. And she told her, this is what Evelyn says. This is what I want in return. And you can take it or leave it.
Yeah.
So I think that this is also a story about the growth of Monique in such a short amount of time too.
Definitely. I think I just have one little blurb from, it's like literally at the end, like 373.
Okay.
It was basically this is after she gets the note from her dad and she comes back home and she gets the note from her the ex-boyfriend, and she's like, I don't think I would have ended my marriage without Evelyn Hugo. I don't think I would have stood up to Frankie without Evelyn Hugo. I don't think I would have had the chance to write a surefire bestseller without Evelyn Hugo. I don't think I would have understand the true depths of my father's devotion to me without Evelyn Hugo. So I think Evelyn is wrong about the least one thing. My hate is not uncomplicated. So I'm just like, that was like I'm like, yeah, that's crazy how she just grew from getting like one story. But I mean, it is so true that she, like, Monique did grow from her Evelyn story, which is just like, I don't know. Yeah.
Can you imagine that much growth in like a week?
That's crazy, right? Like, she grew some little backbone, and I was like, okay, girl.
Right.
But
like, that's wild.
Yeah, but the book was really good. Like, I feel like the author really wrote like a good, captivating character.
Right.
It was really good. It's cool. That's all I gotta say. Amazing.
Same. Still 5 out of 5. Even though the ups and downs, still 5 out of 5.
Yeah. So I'm low key, like, I would still be thinking about Evelyn, like, if she was a real person.
I know. And I'm like, yeah, Ev, don't do that. Like, Ev.
Y'all got nicknames.
Like, no, we really do have nicknames here.
No, Ev.
Ev. I literally would flip it. Ev, what are you doing? Yeah, gotta. But that's like it just shows like how good of a writer Reid is. That she like literally she makes you think that you're there and that you're involved with these people's lives.
Yeah, it was really 5 out of 4. Woo-hoo. And I think that is at the end of our discussion, all our thoughts. It was a wild ride. And
it was. So glad we took it.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thank you guys for watching. And bye. We'll see you again soon.